Pleasant good night to all the listeners to CassdressMakers program. Conversation with Cassandra Shortte of CassdressMakers. Welcome everyone. And tonight we're going to have a little conversation about Cassandra and her journey in dressmaking, and also want to talk about the upcoming program for CassdressMakers. There's an upcoming course that is going to begin this week, and so we want to talk a little bit about it. But for the moment, I want us to talk about Cassandra's journey in dressmaking. So I'd just like to ask, by the way, I'm Kelvin Shortte. A lot of people know me as Manson Shortte, and I'm the husband of Cassandra. And so I'm going to ask Cassandra to just greet the audience.
Alright, good night and welcome again. I'm Cass, CassdressMakers. Tonight I want to use as my verse of encouragement, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. To our listeners and viewers, you can do all things, including being the next dressmaker, through Christ who gives you strength.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like you to share the live with somebody. Share the live with somebody, because what Cassandra has to say tonight is very important, very interesting. Okay, Cassandra, let's start by talking about how you really got into dressmaking. Were you really a dressmaker by birth? you know, there's some people who have that kind of a talent. They're just good at it, and they saw somebody doing something and they start doing it. How did you get into dressmaking? How did it start?
I think my interest came because of my need. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you have a unique shape, which I think I have, right? And I think that it was hard to find persons to make garments that fit me. It's either it's too bulky, too loose, or too tight. It just was not fitting right. And I remember one day I was complaining about something that someone made for me. And my husband said as a child, well, if nobody could please you, why don't you want to do it yourself?
And an opportunity presented itself. What was that opportunity?
Oh, so that was way back when. And I think I started, no, I grew up, part of my latter life, my aunt was a seamstress.
Right.
But I never learned from her. So when I got the challenge, I think in those days the Y was at, where we have the YWCA, and I enrolled there. That is in the 1980s, 1980. So that was my first introduction into dressmaking.
So you got into my dressmaking program, and how did it turn out?
I think that introduction, because I had the interest. Because before I went to Y, I had a friend, my neighbor and what we used to do, I was the one who was brave enough. So we would take down, we have a dress we like, and I would take it apart, put it on the new fabric, cut around it, stitch it up back, and I would make for me and her, right? So when I got the challenge, And in those days when I registered to attend Y, there was no vans and so on the road, but it was the days when there were banana
trucks, yeah.
And I rode some banana trucks then to get from Y. I would leave. I was teaching in New Prospect. I was teaching in New Prospect then, and I would leave New Prospect, get to Bible, or go over to Mesco, and then to come back, get on a banana truck.
Yes, I remember those days. In those days, banana shipment used to be Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we waited for those banana trucks to come to get home. Right.
But you know the lesson from that. If you have a desire to do something, there is no obstacle. Because in those days, I could have used the excuse that I didn't have my own transportation, vans didn't run that hour, and I could have used that as an excuse. And it is showing today that saying that I don't have a ride, and why only offered it from 4:30 to 6, I think it was 4:30 to 6, but I made use of that. I think that was my first introduction.
Yeah, that was the introduction to dressmaking. And did you consider yourself a dressmaker by then?
Yeah. Because I never actually went into it to make garments for anybody else. It was just for me. So it just met my need. I was not a dressmaker. No.
So who was the first other person that you made garments for besides yourself? I could remember very well when you started off that there was this style called the hammer, the hammer pants.
I actually think the first piece of garment I made for somebody else was this hammer, Michael Hammer. It was big, and with a narrow, big hair, loops, and a narrow foot. And so I actually made one for myself because I think around that time there was an election thing or something.
Right.
And then somebody saw it and said, well, that I know I could have made. So I made that, I think. And I didn't go into dressmaking. I did not go into dressmaking to do a business or to sew for anybody else. Let's get that clear. But just that you are your biggest advertisement. If you make something, people see it, they like it, and that's it.
Right. So at that time, you counted yourself as an amateur.
I was not a dressmaker. I was doing to meet my own needs. Was just it.
So when did you really become a professional? What was that opening for you to become a professional in dressmaking?
I still don't see myself as a professional. What happened is that the interest was there, but so when the opportunity came for me to go to Sir Arthur Lewis in St. Lucia, I remembered when I went to the Public Service Commission, they were doing the interview, and I remember specifically the person was asking the question was Kenneth John.
Yes.
And he asked, which area would you choose? Because there's food and nutrition, and there's clothing and textile. And I said, clothing and textile. And I remember the other side, clothing and textile. And I was like, well, I like them both, but if I'm given a choice, clothing and textile. So that's how I got to do clothing. I went to St. Lucia, was given a choice to choose between to specialize in either food or clothing. I specialized in clothing with the intention, because we were trained to come back and teach what we studied. So I was seeing myself as coming back to teach clothing and textile.
So what I gather is that that program was a program that was geared to train you to teach a CXC program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you went to St. Lucia And that was a 2-year program, right?
Yes.
A 2-year program.
That was way back when. I think it was from 91 to 93. So I came back from St. Lucia in 1993.
Right. So you said that that program, you had, did you have a choice between food and nutrition and clothing and textile?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about
No, in the first year, you did no choice, but for the second year, you specialized. And the choice, food and nutrition, clothing and textile. And I chose to specialize in clothing. No, I don't know if it was not the easiest of choices, because foods, the persons doing foods, they had all their ingredients provided and then they get to eat their dishes. Whereas it was more expensive to choose clothing.
But what really influenced you to take clothing and textile? Is it because that you had just learned how to make dresses at white? That was that influence you?
I guess it's not that I learned to make dresses at white.
Yeah.
It's just that I had an interest in sewing. I had that interest, and I think that there would have been a need for it.
Right.
So it was, I don't know if there was a big debate, it was just that it was the obvious choice for me. Because I had to choose food or clothing.
So you went to St. Lucia, you did the 2-year program, and your choice was clothing and textile. How did that turn out? I mean, did you ace the program, or did how did that turn out? Yeah, tell me. Tell us.
Without seeming to boast, I specialize in the clothing and textile. Very difficult, more expensive, but I actually graduated from that program the top in my class.
Yes.
As a top student, I think I graduated with an A+ average. Can you put it on your paper? And I actually received the award for clothing and textile when I graduated.
And it's amazing. I was at that graduation, and the gift that they gave you was not a clothing and textile gift. I mean, they gave you something that was related to food, and I was upset. I said, but how could they give you an electric knife? How could they give you an electric knife and you ace it at on clothing and textile? I mean, was that pointing to the fact that they still saw you as a food and nutrition teacher?
I remember Mrs. Dyer, who was in charge of the program, was saying, well, Cassandra, I just see you as a food teacher. I just see you as a food teacher. But I actually think she knew that there was a demand for food teacher. Then I came back. But I made the right choice. So I made the right choice.
Okay, so you came from St. Lucia, came from Salterless College with a certificate. You aced it in clothing and textile.
Yeah. I was the top student.
Right. Now that you're qualified to go and teach the CXC program, what did you teach when you came? What did you teach? Was it clothing and textile or food and nutrition?
When I returned to St. Vincent, I think I returned in 1993.
Yes.
And you report back, and I was told that there was a need for a food and nutrition teacher. So 2 of us were coming back. There were 2 students coming back. I specialized in clothing and textile, and there was another teacher who specialized in food and nutrition. So we had a food and nutrition teacher and a clothing teacher coming back that year. And then I was told North Union needed a food and nutrition teacher because that teacher was going off to study.
Right.
And so there I was at North Union, expected to teach food and nutrition. So strange enough, you know, I came back with a diploma in food and nutrition, graduated with an award as a top student, and I never got to teach it.
So you never, so
Not for CXC.
you came back from St. Lucia, the top student in clothing and textile, and you never got a chance to teach it in the secondary school.
No,
Never had a chance.
never.
Wow.
I taught food and nutrition and home economics management. The opportunity, you would not believe it, that the opportunity to teach the clothing
Right.
actually came after I retired, because I actually did like 2 years or so at the Teachers College. So for one of those groups, I did teach clothing and textile.
All right.
But at CXC,
But you were teaching food and nutrition, but on the side, like on the side, you were sewing up a storm. You were really sewing up a storm. I remember that you would have weddings and so forth. So how did people get attracted to you instead of wanting you to do foods for them, that they're asking you to make dresses? Yeah.
no, let me say up front, that I believe that your steps are ordered by the Lord. And I believe that He has a plan for your life and things will fall into place. Because strange enough, I actually went to North Union. I didn't complain. I was sent to teach food. I remember calling my friend who studied with me in the Antiguan.
Yes.
And I was like, can you imagine they put me to teach foods? You know? But I never shy away from a challenge. So I took it, and later on I actually got to study, do my degree in hospitality, which lent itself to the food. But what I realized, here I was, and I was not having an opportunity in the field to teach it.
Right.
And I said, if you have a skill and you do not use it, you will eventually lose it. So I decided that I was going to, yes, I was making my garments for myself and so on, but I decided to share the skill. Because if I'm not getting it in the formal setting to teach it, then nobody said that I can't teach it on my own. So I created I went in, I marketed it in sense of I made my own garments, people saw my garments, they were interested. I made, and then I got into sewing for weddings and other things and so on.
I can remember you throw out a challenge, right? It was a challenge in the sense that you boasted that you will not wear a garment twice for a term. I can remember you will not wear a garment twice for a term, and did you succeed?
When let me say this, I'm not ashamed to say it. When I started my teaching career way back when, and was dependent on persons making garments for me,
Right.
my wardrobe was very limited. I look back then at how limited my wardrobe was. And when I came to retire, because I'm a retired teacher, when I came and I was retiring, I made a vow that for the last term that I was teaching,
You will not wear a
I
garment
would not
twice.
repeat a garment.
Wow.
I did not repeat a garment. Because here I was, I had a skill, I was going to use it, and I think I'm into this style. I never repeated a garment So 5 days per week, 5 different garments, 13 or how many weeks in the tour? And I did it.
Yes, you did it. You did it. And that is all because you were able to sew for yourself.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, so you became better and better, and you got practice. You practice on people, you practice. You became very proficient in the of dressmaking, and so you have developed this wonderful program and have really to creating an academy to teach women and in a limited sense men dressmaking. And so you are now at a place where you're able to teach it, and it's a big success. Tell us about that. Tell us about,
Let me say first that in terms of Men in Limited, I dare the men to take a challenge.
Oh yes.
I dare the men to take the challenge. I looked at the last group that graduated, and there was this police officer who did it, and just aced it. We boast about wearing these celebrity designers. They're male, right? So when we boast about the Calvin Klein and Pass or whatever, and all these, they're males. So I don't know why anybody should think that this is just for women. I dare the men to get out from this.
Is it a Caribbean thing that we think that garment dressmaking?
But it should not be, because
it's for female only.
The brands that you're going to buy in these brands that you boast about, the designers, they're male.
Right.
So I think we need to break. That is one of the things we need to get out of, the stereotype. That is just for female. That's one. My aim is not just a matter of creating an academy. My aim is I have a skill.
Yes.
I think it is needed. I am willing to share it as long as I physically can. Because who knows, one day I won't be able to. And I believe I said in the last presentation, Shakespeare said, there are 4 things that come back. One is a neglected opportunity. And here is an opportunity to learn a skill. I just want to share because I realize what learning the skill did for me. And that's what the Cass Academy is all about. It is giving every Vincentian who has the interest, the desire, the opportunity to learn a skill.
And so you have been successful in having women and men coming to do your program from far and near. We have students from the Leeward side, North Leeward. You have students from North Windward. You have students from the Grenadines who come to do the CassdressMakers program. Now, tell us, if there's somebody out there say, I would like to do the course, but I don't have a machine. I don't know anything about dressmaking. It's going to be hard for me because I'm going to start from scratch. Somebody might be saying this. I don't think this is for me because I have never touched a machine. I've never touched a needle and thread. How can I do this program?
I started by saying we can do all things. And one of the things that keep us from learning, from going forward in starting, is all we allow fear to control us. And I know, one, be careful who you listen to.
Right.
Because sometimes persons come and they give you the negative and they put fear in you. You won't make it. It is hard. It is too much. Me, can I learn that? And you have to put that aside. I, as a trained teacher, that's the thing that I bring to the table. I keep saying to people, I am not a seamstress. I'm not just a dressmaker. I am a trained teacher.
Right.
And as a trained and a successful one too.
Right.
And remember, when I trained in St. Lucia, I was trained to teach clothing. I was trained there. And I'm a trained teacher. I went to Teachers College here. I went to St. Vincent Teachers College, and at St. Lucia we were trained to specialize in the area. So as a trained teacher, I am willing to work with you. All I'm saying is we have to get past the fear. The fear. I have a program worked out. I am willing to take people at their start where you are.
Well, some people are intimidated by the 3 months program. So say 3 months. What can I learn in 3 months? I mean, you know, and they could have a negative attitude towards that and say, okay, hey, this program is rushy, I can't make it, you know. Well, tell us about that. Yeah, tell us.
Which meant is not to look at the program as a whole. You take it one garment at a time.
Right.
Take one garment at a time. Okay. Normally, if you do this program and you make it through the first 2 garments, say the first 2 garments. Let's face it, I'm not going to minimize that and say it's just easy. The first 2 garments you make, that's where the challenge is. And it's only challenging because, one, and you have to learn a lot of processes.
Right.
Then we have to do zipper application, we do the drafting of the garment. I show you how to hem it the way I want you to hem, how to apply your waistband, and you're learning a lot of processes then. So I know people tend to feel intimidated, but I say if you get over that, the longer you stay in the program, the easier you get. The problem with comfort, you said that sometimes there are people who might think that it's rushing. You have 3 months. You don't want to stretch it too long because there are people who have to get time off from work. There are persons who have to hire somebody to babysit for them to come. So you don't want to have it. And sometimes if you stretch it too long, people tend to get complacent and not to make the effort. So I'm saying 3 months. And some people ask about why 1 day per week. 1 day per week, because if you have to leave from work and you have to have time off, it's harder. So I put it, instead of 1 day, 1 hour, 2 days a week, we do 2 hours, 1 day per week.
Right.
And you just apply yourself for that 3 months. It's just 3 months. The break between, so when you have something this week, you have a whole week to go home, think about it, try it, practice it.
So let's say do the program Thursday, from one Thursday to the next. In between that time, a student will be working on a project. Are you accessible to the students during that period of time?
Always.
Right. So they can call if they get into trouble with yeah.
My number is always 455-4821 and it's always accessible. The thing is, any venture you take, the hardest part is to start and then to stay in it. CassdressMakers is the same thing. We have to get past the stereotype of thinking that it is for a certain class
Right.
and a certain people, and if you can't do anything, so she can't learn, so essentially need a school. We have to get past that
Right.
and learn, because I want to move the dressmaking from just the traditional needle school. I want to move it from where persons, you cut the garment and it too big and you cut off a piece and you cut off a piece.
Right.
And to put a bit more, make it more professional. I don't know if that answers your question.
Right.
So before,
No, so I just want to ask you this, because you can measure the difficulty of the program by the dropout rate. Because let's say, for example, you have 60 students, or let's say 30 students, and
isn't those too big a numbers?
okay, let's say 30 students, and let's say you have 30 students and 25 finish the program. That's satisfactory. Yeah.
You see, you can't use a dropout rate.
Right, because people have different reasons for dropping out.
Reasons. I remember when we came back just after COVID,
Right.
and then it was Carnival,
Right.
and then everybody went to Carnival, and after Carnival, everybody got flu. A number of persons got flu.
Right.
And so that was, I was like, did I make the right decision to come back then? Because one by one persons calling in that they had flu. But the thing is, my grandmother said, like this, you could take her off the water. So I can
You can't force it to drink.
You can't force it to drink.
Right.
I keep saying I have simplified the dressmaking. I have simplified it. I am a trained teacher, which I'm trained to teach. I am accessible to persons. I am willing. It is not that sometimes some people do not want to teach you what they know because they're afraid that you're going to take away their job. But I have closed down my part of it.
Yeah.
And why we were closed?
I went to 2 weddings recently. 2 weddings recently. And at those 2 weddings, I saw some very impressive garments. The
Bridesmaid dresses.
Bridesmaid dresses.
The bridal party.
And the first time I asked, who did this? And they said, it's a lady by the name of Natasha Jeffrey. Wow! I went to a wedding yesterday, and I saw an impressive bridal party again. And I asked, who is that? And they said, Natasha Jeffrey. Natasha Jeffrey. Tell me, what do you know about Natasha Jeffrey? Natasha Jeffrey. What do you know about this girl? Tell me.
I just put Natasha as one of my success stories. Natasha came through CassdressMakers, and I am just proud of what Natasha is doing. And Natasha specializes.
Oh,
She's
yes.
specializing in bridal. So if you want your bridal, don't come to me. Go to Natasha. But Natasha is not the only success story.
I sent her a message. I sent her a message when I saw it. I sent her a message, and I said to her, "Thanks for being the the flag bearer for CassdressMakers, because indeed she is the flag bearer for CassdressMakers."
She learned and she capitalized on it, but you have some other success stories.
Right, another more.
You have like Laurie Pierre.
Yes.
You have Savon Daniel.
Wow.
You have this girl that from Ingrid.
Oh yes.
You have Ingrid.
Ingrid John.
You have Currency.
Oh yeah.
So you did a number of success stories of persons.
And these are folks who started from scratch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. A success story. There's Zoe.
Right.
Zoe?
So in Georgetown, she's
Zoe
a star now.
So when persons come to me to do dressmaking, I can recommend you. to trained professionals. You don't have to come to me. As we're wrapping up, I can say that I am passing the torch, right? I'm passing the baton, and I hope that persons will take it up. That, because I won't always be here.
Before we wrap up, let's talk about the program. Give folks an idea as to the next dressmakers course, and there's still room for applicants.
Yes.
Yes.
The next opportunity to learn from CassdressMakers is next Wednesday and Thursday, the 11th and 12th of January. The program starts, and to make sure that we have to try to make our groups smaller, I offer 6 separate sessions in the 2 days. So you can register, you can come in at from 10 to 12, or from 1:30 to 3:30, or from 4:30 to 6:30 on Wednesdays or Thursdays. And if there's still room, especially on Thursday, Thursday 1:30 is good, Thursday 4:30, Wednesday 1:30 has some room too. And so that is next Wednesday, 11th of January and the 12th of January 2023, and there are different sessions. We are still open for registration, and for those who can't manage, even walking that day. We are located in the Llewellyn's building and McCoy Street. We are on the 2nd floor in Kingston. We offer that we do the program would cover skirt. And next Wednesday you will be starting a straight skirt, skater skirt, dress, top, and we end it with pants.
Wonderful.
I know it's some intense, but it just gets easier as we go along.
Very exciting program. Very exciting program. Well, I would, before we go, is there anybody you would like to thank for being involved in your program with you? I can't close this session without mentioning a supporter of mine who have always supported and encouraged CassdressMakers. I remember the first time I met her in Lanes, and what we're doing, because I knew her from way back. And Korean, that's named Korean Williams, right,
of Korean Design, Divine Designs. Korean Design has supported and encouraged. You know, sometimes when I feel like giving up, and listen to me, giving back is not easy. And she always have a word of encouragement. She would turn up at every graduation and offer her support. And I really can't repay her for that. Just sometimes you want a word, somebody to encourage you and say, girl, you're doing something good. Keep doing what you're doing. And well, I call her Aggie.
Yeah, she's
Aggie. Korean Design.
Korean.
So thank you. If you're listening to this, I hope you have a blessed new year. And
there are some ladies who assist you as well, assist the program by assisting the girls when they come to do their shopping for cart and so forth. Yeah.
I have to mention though that especially, well, I keep saying I miss him, but Singer has been very supportive, encouraging. I can always go in and just relate, as Miss Prince was very helpful. There was Sim who was there, and when persons come, I develop a knowledge of the machines.
Yes.
And I would say to people, if you're going to buy a machine, go for Singer. And my thing is, because Singer has a good after-sales service. It has a good after-sales service and a good relationship. Singer they had sponsored us some. They actually sponsored the last 2 sessions in terms of vouchers, so that if you buy a machine cash, you get a 15% discount, and I really want to say thank you for that. People don't want to encourage you. These ladies at Jack's and
the girls at the drapery department and Lane's and Jack's.
And the fabric department. Who were able to guide the ladies when they go to choose their fabric, because by now they know. When I was doing that class, and I walked in, and there was this couple, and they were shopping to come to CassdressMakers, and there was something that we didn't put on the list, and the lady at Lays was able to say, "Oh, you're going to CassdressMakers? Then you'll need this, you'll need that," and they know exactly what the ladies and what the ladies needed. So then, while she was saying, "But it's not on," and she put out, "It's not on the paper," then up I came and was able to say yes. And you know, I have Nadine who dropped in and encouraged me at our graduation. That's Nadine Gibson. Thank you. Miss Wilkinson, always at our graduation. Thank you. I want to say thank you. At the last graduation, we had our MC then was Adriana King. Thank you, Adriana. Mavis Joseph was our speaker.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we just want to thank you for any little way that you help to keep us. Just a word of encouragement. And there are other persons. There's like my friend, there's Sil, right, of the beauty shop, who always encourage me to take this step forward. And that. And I just want to say thank you. And for those new students and those people who still have a little fear, you have to take that first step. There are 2 things you will always need in life, in our modern society. You'll always need to wear clothes, and you'll always need to eat. And there's nothing like having your own custom-made garment. Even to make, because the dress I'm wearing now, this is a short dress. A short dress. You can do it.
Okay, thank you very much, Cassandra Shortte of CassdressMakers. It was my pleasure speaking to you, and I'm sure that the audience would have had a better understanding of who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing at CassdressMakers.
As I close, I want to say to you, fear not, right? You can do it. All you have to do is to sign up, be present, put aside these 3 months, and I'll take you there. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Wonderful,
God's willing.
wonderful. So, students, prospective students, and those who have not registered yet, you can call 455-4821, and you can go straight into the registration.
Only at knowing how to take in a piece of clothes. If I have it and I figure it too big, I could have done that. I am making dress, I'm making skirt, I'm mastering pants.
Wow.
I'm doing it all in just 3 months.
Online registration form, and it is www.cassdressmakers.com, as simple as that. www.cassdressmakers.com. You get in, you put that into your phone or your your laptop or whatever, and you go straight right into the registration, and you can register tonight. So see you, those new students who are going to come on Wednesday and Thursday. We are looking forward to meet you and to welcome you. So looking forward to see you, and wish you all the best.
There's nothing like wearing your old garments. Life is too short to wear boring clothes.
All right.
See you at
I must say, well, because we started with CassdressMakers, I am able to create my own pants, my own dress. So far, I must say that I'm able to make a few outfits for myself and for my little family